Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before starting the video, please go ahead and hit the subscribe button and give this video a like up. A Bloodline member recently showcased an appearance change after brutally attacking Roman Reigns on last week's episode of WWE SmackDown. The name in question is Jacob Fatu. After making a huge name in Major League Wrestling, MLW, Fatu signed a contract with World Wrestling Entertainment earlier this year. The 32-year-old made his electrifying debut as part of Solo Sikoa's Bloodline on SmackDown. Since then, Sikoa's stable has been wreaking havoc on the blue brand. During last week's edition of SmackDown, Roman Reigns managed to take out every member of the new Bloodline by himself. However, an injured Jacob Fatu showed up out of nowhere to attack the OTC. The fearsome stable then brutally assaulted Reigns before the show went off the air. The 32-year-old has recently made a massive change to his appearance ahead of this week's episode of the Blue Brand. Pristine Grills' official Instagram handle recently posted a video in which the Samoan werewolf can be seen showing off his new dental jewelry, also known as gold grills. During an edition of the Not Some Wrestling podcast, WWE personality Sam Roberts noted that although Roman Reigns will need to go through every member of the Bloodline, Jacob Fatu was the only actual physical threat to the OTC in Solo Sikoa's stable. Jacob Fatu is all set to make his in-ring return on this week's edition of Friday Night SmackDown. He will team up with Tama Tonga to defend the WWE Tag Team Championship against the Street Profits. It will be interesting to see which team will come out on top. It was a typical Friday night in the world of WWE SmackDown, the arena buzzing with anticipation. Fans filled the stands, their voices echoing as they chanted for their favorite superstars. But tonight was different. The air crackled with tension, and the stage was set for something monumental. The Bloodline, a faction that had dominated WWE for years, was at a crossroads. Roman Reigns, the tribal chief, had led the group to unparalleled heights, but cracks were starting to show. Tensions within the faction had been brewing, particularly with Jey Uso, who felt overshadowed and underappreciated. As the main event drew closer, the atmosphere shifted, suggesting that this night would be remembered for more than just another match. As the main event commenced, Roman Reigns made his entrance, the crowd erupting in a mix of cheers and boos. He was the embodiment of power, his confidence radiating throughout the arena. However, Jey Uso stood backstage, his heart racing. He had a decision to make, one that would redefine his legacy and the future of the Bloodline. The moment of reckoning. The match unfolded with intensity. Reigns dominated his opponent, showcasing his strength and athleticism. But as the minutes ticked by, Jey Uso watched from the shadows, his mind racing with doubt and anger. The feelings of being an afterthought in the Bloodline had festered long enough. Jey's eyes darkened as he realized that he could no longer remain in Roman's shadow. Then it happened. In a shocking twist, Jey Uso charged into the arena, sprinting down the ramp with an unmistakable fire in his eyes. The crowd gasped as he slid into the ring, eyes locked on Roman. The tribal chief, caught off guard, turned just in time to see Jey unleash a brutal attack, a series of punches that echoed through the arena. Fans erupted in disbelief. This was not the Jey Uso they had come to know. This was a man transformed by anger and frustration. Jey's fists flew, each strike fueled by years of pent-up emotions, a violent culmination of feelings that had been buried too long. Roman staggered back, shocked by the onslaught from his own blood. A shift in power. As the brutality continued, the other Bloodline members, Jimmy Uso and Solo Sikoa, watched from backstage, their expressions a mix of confusion and concern. Jey's betrayal was more than just a physical assault. It was a declaration of independence. Jey had crossed a line, stepping into a realm where there was no going back. The fans watched in awe as the once loyal member of the Bloodline ruthlessly dismantled the tribal chief. In a moment of raw vulnerability, Roman looked up at Jey, his expression a mix of anger and disappointment. "What are you doing, Jey?" he shouted, but the words fell on deaf ears. Jey's transformation was complete. He was no longer the supportive cousin, but a man claiming his own identity and power. With a swift motion, G set Roman up for a superkick, the same move that had defined their partnership. But this time, it wasn't about family, it was about reclaiming his narrative. The kick connected, and Roman crumpled to the mat, the crowd roaring in shock and disbelief. Aftermath and reflection. As the dust settled, G stood over Roman, breathing heavily, the weight of his actions crashing down around him. This was not just an attack, it was a statement. The Bloodline would never be the same, and Jey Uso had made a choice that would resonate throughout WWE history. In the following weeks, the fallout was palpable. Roman Reigns, a man known for his resilience, was visibly shaken. He had lost more than just a match. He had lost a brother. The other members of the Bloodline struggled to process what had happened. Jimmy Uso, caught in the middle, felt torn between his loyalty to his brother and the devastation of their fractured family. Solo Sikoa, typically silent, now bore a heavy responsibility to mend the rift. Jey, on the other hand, reveled in his newfound freedom. He began to craft his own path, shedding the chains of expectation that had bound him for so long. He reinvented his persona, adopting a more aggressive style that reflected his inner turmoil. The fans, initially shocked, began to rally behind him, drawn to his raw emotion and determination. A battle for legacy. As weeks turned into months, the narrative of the Bloodline took on new layers. Jey Uso challenged Roman Reigns for the Universal Championship at the next pay-per-view event, a clash that symbolized not only their rivalry but the struggle for identity and legacy. The feud escalated, filled with mind games, brutal matches, and emotional confrontations. Jey's transformation resonated with fans. They saw him not just as Roman's cousin, but as a man fighting for his own legacy. His promo segments were raw and heartfelt, revealing the pain of living in someone else's shadow. "I'm not just a member of the Bloodline," he declared one night on SmackDown. "I am my own man, and I will not be defined by anyone else." The stage was set for an epic confrontation, a culmination of months of tension and violence. The arena was packed, the energy electric, as fans braced for a showdown that would change the course of WWE history. As the bell rang and the two cousins faced off, it was clear. This was about more than just a title. It was a battle for their souls. Conclusion: a legacy rewritten. The brutal attack on Roman Reigns had initiated a seismic shift within the Bloodline, a turning point that would echo for years to come. Jey Uso had emerged not just as a competitor, but as a symbol of resilience and self-discovery. The echoes of that fateful night would reverberate throughout WWE, reminding fans that even in the world of scripted entertainment, the struggle for identity and the fight against oppression were universal themes. As the dust settled and the rivalry reached its climax, one thing was clear: the Bloodline would never be the same, and Jey Uso had finally claimed his place in the spotlight, ready to carve out a legacy of his own. The fans, now fully behind him, cheered as a new chapter began, one marked by courage, strength, and the unyielding pursuit of self.